They flattened my Wildflower meadow, so I flattened their renovation plans. My property sat on 1¼ acres at the edge of a small New England village, just outside town limits where zoning laws were loose, but environmental rules were strict. 8 years ago, I cleared the brush and planted a native wildflower meadow, black-eyed Susans, milkweed, coneflowers, and asters, to attract pollinators. It took 3 summers for the roots to settle and the colors to bloom in waves. I'd spent about $6,000 on seed, soil amendments, and a drip line. The meadow had become a small ecosystem: bees, butterflies, even a fox den near the rock wall. Then the new neighbors moved in next door. Mark and Jenna, late 30s, came up from the city. He was a contractor, confident like the world should move aside when he measured something. The first week they arrived, he leaned over the stone boundary wall and said, "You planning to mow that field anytime soon?" I told him it wasn't a field, it was a registered pollinator habitat. He smirked. "Looks like weeds to me." 2 weeks later, I came home from a weekend visiting my sister and saw tire tracks all over the meadow. A skid steer sat idling near the wall, and 3 workers were rolling out sod. Mark was there, clipboard in hand. The meadow was gone, flattened, scraped down to mineral soil, butterflies gone, earth torn open. He said, "Don't get worked up. We had to level it for our new fence line. Figured we'd tie to your side too, make it look uniform." His tone was corporate casual, as if he'd done me a favor. I didn't argue. I took photos from every angle, geotagged them, and called the county conservation officer. She came out the next morning, took one look, and said, "They graded into a protected pollinator restoration. That's a Class B environmental violation." She measured the encroachment, 21 feet into my property, and noted the unpermitted soil disturbance. A week later, Mark's lawyer sent me a letter offering to resolve the misunderstanding by paying half the cost of seed. I forwarded it to the conservation office. They filed a formal complaint with the State Environmental Board. At the hearing, the inspector presented aerial photos and soil samples. The chairwoman said simply, "The property owner has clear documentation. The violation stands." Mark was ordered to restore the habitat fully within 60 days under professional supervision or face escalating fines. On Restoration Day, I stood quietly as a crew of licensed environmental landscapers arrived with trucks, compost, and hundreds of flats of native seedlings. They worked methodically, reseeding, grading, and setting erosion blankets. A conservation agent photographed each stage. Mark watched from his porch, jaw tight. He muttered about appealing, but the board rejected his request the next week. The flowers returned slowly that summer. By autumn, bees were back. The meadow stood taller than before, and no one crossed that wall again. It's permanent now.